What's up, everyone? Welcome to round 4 of the Portland Monthly Premodern Paper Magic Afternoons June 2024 tournament. We got a couple of brews to show off, one of which I know pretty well. So without further ado, let's get into the deck list. First up, we have David on what he's calling Tidal Speculation, which is pretty much the two namesakes of the deck. This is a flashback 4-color control deck with Quiet Speculation to get those flashback cards in the graveyard, and of course Parallax Tide and the cards that partner with it to lock your opponent out of the game by getting rid of all their lands. This wouldn't be a David deck without 4 Sunscape Familiars. He's also running Phantatogs for the previously named Parallax Tide. I do have to call out though that there is only one black card in this entire deck, and it's Engineer Plague in the sideboard. And David, why you gotta be hating? All jokes aside though, this is a really fun list with lots of one-of fun-ofs, so I'm excited to see how it goes. Speaking of people who love black way too much, it's me. Yes, I am actually on camera this month, and I am playing a Drunk Rack Brew. Now, you may know that I really like playing pit rack based decks, and I've been playing around with a blue-black list for a while. Well, this is another version of that, this time splashing white. Now, this is not quite Dead Guy Ale, but we are taking a lot of the good cards from it, specifically Gerard's Verdict, Vindicates, Hippies. Usually I actually don't run in pit rack decks, and of course a couple of swords. It also opens up the sideboard to a lot of good hate pieces, including Disenchants and Circle Protection Red, both of which really help in their respective matchups. But it's mostly just a pit rack deck. We are trying to get our opponent's hands clean of cards so we can hit them with a rack. We do have creatures this time around for extra damage to close out the gap, and 2 scrolls just in case all of that doesn't get it done. All right, let's get into the games. Those are the decks. Let's get into the games. And we got David on the left and Andrew, aka me, on the right. Do a little roll to start things off. Just a little discussion on dice placement so it's clear for both players. Don't want to be messing with your opponent's dice, obviously. So I did cut away this a little too quick. Okay, looks like David will be on the start. We're both keeping 7. And how about a turn 1 Phyrexian Furnace against a deck that cares about what's in his graveyard? Seems pretty good. Now, I had to guess on what David's playing. I don't think I knew at this time, but he usually plays some sort of flashback shenanigans, so made a lot of sense. And there's good old Sunscape Familiar, makes all green and blue cards 1 cheaper. All right, let's play out a little Swords to get rid of that card, because I don't need him discounting his things. And play out a Rack as well, and gonna say go. So not the best start from my deck. Usually you want to have some hand interaction. I'm seeing maybe a few too many lands, which might be a problem, but I did deal with at least 1 threat. All right, and there's the Phantatog. That is a pit though. How about a chain? Sack your only creature. And yep, might as well do it now. Hit it with the Furnace as they go. So opting not to do the Bottomless Pit, I think that's because David is this turn going to have 4 mana, so could do the Parallax Tide combo, get rid of all my lands, which I definitely do not want to happen. And Chain is sorcery speed, so now was the time to do it. I'll play the Bottomless Pit next turn. And I don't think I have any other action in my hand, so that makes good sense. David, I can't really tell what he's got going on. He definitely has his 4th land drop. Might even have the Tide. Usually you don't want to play out the Frog until you're dropping the Tide next turn. Does he have a quiet speculation in hand? Maybe. Alright, taking 1. Okay, he is going to quiet spec. Alright, so he's going to fill up his graveyard with 3 flashback cards. Still has 2 mana up. Notably, one of them is green, so he can hit my Furnace if he does get his disenchant effect. Alright, we're going to order it like so. A Prismatic Strands, a red card which flashes back to deal, I think, 1 damage, and a Deep Analysis. I think knowing that that red card is not going to be super good against my deck, that is why he put it on bottom, so it just gets hit right away. The Prismatic Strand is not necessarily best. I think he's really just banking on being able to Deep Analysis. Now there is a case for where I just crack this. Okay, no, he is just going to cast it. Take 3, draw 2. And you just giving these a little read. As they are sort of relevant. We do have creatures in the deck. Alright. Land out a swamp. Does the pit happen now? Yes, bottomless pit. Every turn, that player discards a card at random before their draw step. And let's just hit the flashback card. Might as well pass to you. I guess there is something to be said for doing it in your opponent's end step, but this is how I'm doing it, I guess. Deep Analysis, that's a pretty good hit. It is very tempting just to crack. Okay, I'm going to do it this time. Yes, we're going to hit that Deep Analysis. Don't draw anymore. I do get to draw a card, though, which is nice. Granted, it will get discarded to the pit, potentially. Although I think I have 2 lands in hand, so I don't know if that was an action card, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Really, I want to make sure that David's not drawing a lot of cards here because his deck does get out of control if he does have the resources to play whatever he wants. And right now he still has a grip of cards, so we haven't done a good job of that. I think I mentioned earlier that not having hand disruption early on was probably going to be a problem. And a second Quiet Speculation is very good. I think he only has 3 in the deck. But this means he can go find more answers. This time he probably will find a Disenchant effect, not wanting that Bottomless Pit to stick around and ruin my fun. If I was him, I would definitely grab it, and that is the top card on deck right now. Also grabbing at least 1 worm, so a finisher for sure. 2 worms, alright. Yes, so most likely going to be firing off the Disenchant effect. Actually, I can't remember if that's Sorcerer Speed or instant. If it's instant, he'll just wait till my turn. Okay, gonna play a Caves and pass. It must be an instant speed. Alright, now I believe 2 of these are lands. It is the last card. That is another land. Actually, are all of these lands? Future me wishes past me would show what's going on a little bit better. But it's a lot of lands. Alright, Duress you. Finally, some hand interaction. Only target is a Stifle. Well, That's not the worst thing, I guess. He could always stifle the pit and pass to you before that happens. Yep, get rid of that. Makes sense. All right. But David finally does take a point of damage thanks to the rack, so there's that. We finally are on the board, guys. However, David just flashes back a 6/6. No biggie. And I'm definitely not having a problem hitting land drops. I think I got another land in hand. Remember when I said that Chainer's Edict would not be super relevant with a flashback? Let's see if I remember it's there to do next turn. Because I believe I have another land in hand, which actually, you know, that should be the play, I think. No matter what I draw. Unless it's an Innocent Blood or something. Alright, we are going to tap 7, taking 2 to do so. Sack one of those 6/6s. Fortunately, don't get to do that again. And we are hurting. I think I drew yet another land. Drop to 6. Untap. Oh, bottomless pit and a land. I think I drew the bottomless pit, so we're just going to go to game number 2. Well, flooding's never fun, but we got a second game, so let's give it a go. Honestly, I wish I could remember what I brought in to sideboard here. This was over a month ago, so my memory's a little bit fuzzy, but I do see 2 hippies, 2 pieces of graveyard interaction. Do I have enough lands to keep? I think I have at least 1, maybe 2. All right, yeah, we're keeping. Both players keeping. How about a turn 1 Phyrexian Furnace again? Worked out pretty well for the first few turns. Still no hand interaction, though, which is a problem. Granted, though, against a deck with so many flashback cards, I do wonder how good a duress would be. I mean, if I hit a Quiet Speculation, sure. All right, Tainted Field. Okay, we are going to duress here. The Mana Leak is looking like the best option. The Swords is not great either. I think I want to take the Mana Leak, honestly. If he wants to spend the mana to hit my Swords, then so be it. Stifle's not really an issue. Oh, I'm actually going to take the Swords. I guess I'm a little worried about having 2 hippies and playing 1 next turn. And, yep, just do that real quick. Second Phyrexian Furnace, go. And David might want to separate his hand and his field a little bit there. Yeah, there we go. I appreciate playing open for the camera. Always nice. Alright, gonna take 1. Hit it with the Furnace, because why not? Gotta stay on top of those. Gotta keep the graveyard empty as much as possible. Alright, so with this mana, I'd have to assume a Meddling Mage is coming down. Yes, okay. What are we naming with the Meddling? Nope, no Meddling Mage. Just gonna pass. Okay, interesting. Teasing. Well, if I get another Duress, we can get that Meddling Mage out. I don't actually have... Oh, Dark Ritual, okay. Gonna do my favorite thing in Magic. Dark Ritual into a hippie. Gonna force him to use that Mana Leak. I don't really know why I wanted to use the Dark Ritual when I couldn't pay for the Mana Leak anyways. I guess to leave 2 mana up for the Furnaces. I don't know. That seemed a little silly. This is round 4. We are playing at a brewery. I'm not going to condone my quality of plays at this point. Comment below if you can think of why that would have been a good idea. In hindsight, not great. Alright, and here's me remembering I actually got slips of paper for Meddling Mage for on camera. So hopefully can see what's going on. It looks like Dave is going to be naming Chainer's Edict with the first mage. Alright, 3 mana for a hippie, and go. Very curious to see what's in David's hand. I think I saw another swords, which is not great. Obviously we want that hippie to connect as many times as possible. More fodder for the furnace. Alright, Meddling Mage coming in. Take 2. I think David is asking about the tainted field there, different than the caves of Koilos. Second Meddling Mage coming down. What do we name with this one? Oh, okay, we are going to get a written thing, but just passing after that. I think I drew a Chainer's. No, we got a Gerard's Verdict. Verdict you. Oh, the rack. Okay, so we named the rack and Chainer's Edict. David here getting to discard 2 cards. Any land gives me life. Alright, let's hit both of those real quick, especially that disenchant effect. Get that out of here. Swinging for 2. And suddenly we're not feeling too bad here. David just 2 cards in hand. Yes, he does have more power on the board. And hitting a Stifle. Okay. We did know about the Stifle already, so 1 semi-mystery card. We got no cards in hand. Swinging in for 4. That does hurt a bit. We're not running Ensnaring Bridges in this build. Usually in Pit-Rack decks, I actually like to run Ensnaring Bridges over creatures. That is a bit of a personal preference, but we're trying it out with the hippies and the potatoes. Oh, might as well go to combat. Swing for 2. It's a worm. That's a good one to hit. And then a Gerard's Verdict. Or the Parallax Tide. So that was interesting. I think maybe I shouldn't have swung in. Held up the hippie to block. Ooh, I'm very glad though I got rid of that Tide. The Fantatog coming down. I mean, he doesn't have the mana to pay for it. Okay, I'm going to draw a card here. Realizing I need to find some kind of removal. Or another threat. Or just find more lands. Did I find another hippie? Or did I find a pit? Oh, I found a Vindicate. I'm actually not sure that was the right call. I think I should have probably hit the Edict, wanting to be able to draw one of my other pieces of removal. Makes more sense over a bit of damage. Yes, we are racing right now. Alright, Fantatog coming in. Can't block it. And then another Meddling Mage coming down. Not great. And the rack coming back. And at this point, I am cracking that furnace just for the draw. Maybe a little desperate, but also maybe a little necessary, because yeah, I think that was 2 lands. Don't tell me we're gonna flood out 2 games in a row. Not like this. We were doing so good. We have... Oh wait, no, it's the rack. Okay, we can't play that. That's even worse. Whatever I'm drawing, I'm not happy about it. Swinging in is not a good call, but we're gonna do it. I discard to Stifle. Yeah, that was maybe not the best call. Alright, we're looking at a minimum of 5 damage coming in. Unless I'm trying to bait something. I don't think I am. Do I have 2 racks in the hand? Okay, I think I might just be a little tilted at this point. So, it turns out killing the Meddling Mage that named the rack was the right call, but David drawing a second Meddling Mage and immediately putting on the rack was not great for me. Alright, at this point I'm dead no matter what. I should not have swung in. Yeah, so that is going to be game number 2, going to David. Good games. Alright, well... That was a little bit of a disappointing showing for my deck. I swear it did way better than that off camera, but you know. Congrats again to David for playing. Awesome looking deck as always. And thanks to all of you for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure to do so. We recently just hit 1,000 subs, so thank you to everyone who has done that already. If you haven't yet, I'm stopping you. If you want to support the channel even further, there is a Patreon link in the video description. That money goes towards gear upgrades, travel expenses, and just putting more pre-modern videos out there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.